Chapter 1. The Cry for Help. The vast expanse of the Vermilion Nebula shimmered with ghostly hues of crimson and violet. Its dense cosmic dust clouds, often called the Shroud of the Void, made this region treacherous for starship travel. For most traders, explorers, and even smugglers, venturing here was a death sentence. Yet, Ethan Cross, captain of the Solar Horizon, had made a career out of thriving where others dared not tread. He leaned back in his chair on the ship's bridge, his boots propped against the console. Ethan's worn leather jacket hung loosely over his shoulders, its edges frayed from years of hard work. The bridge hummed softly with the comforting rhythm of systems running smoothly. The only light came from the stars outside and the soft glow of the ship's AI interface, Vanna, whose presence was a constant reassurance during these long, lonely journeys. Captain Cross, Vanna's smooth voice broke the silence. Our current trajectory is optimal for avoiding the gravitational anomalies of the nebula. Estimated time to delivery point is 12 hours. Ethan sighed, rubbing the stubble on his chin. 12 hours of sitting here doing nothing. Got any good stories, Vanna? I have access to 3.4 million cultural records from over 100 star systems, the AI replied. Shall I recite an epic poem from the Thalkin Empire? Or would you prefer the Terran classic, War of the Stars? Ethan smirked. Never mind. I'll stick to my own thoughts. Just as he closed his eyes, a crackling sound interrupted the quiet. It started faint, barely distinguishable from the background hum of space, but it grew louder, more insistent. A garbled voice broke through the static. Mayday, trapped children help? Ethan sat bolt upright, his boots hitting the deck with a thud. Vanna, isolate that signal and enhance clarity. Where is it coming from? The AI responded immediately. Source of the transmission is approximately 0.7 light-years ahead. The distress signal originates from a damaged vessel drifting near an asteroid cluster. The message repeated, each word dripping with desperation. Ethan's brow furrowed. He'd been flying these routes long enough to know how dangerous distress calls could be. Pirates often lured unsuspecting captains with false cries for help. Still, something about the plea felt genuine, the crack in the voice, the urgency. Scan for life signs, Ethan ordered. Detecting faint biological readings, Vanna replied. Patterns indicate multiple juveniles of non-human origin. No signs of adult life. Ethan leaned back, weighing his options. Logic dictated he should ignore it. This sector was lawless, and venturing into an unknown situation could cost him his ship or worse, his life. But the thought of children trapped out there, scared and alone, gnawed at him. Plot a course, Vanna, he said, his voice firm. Let's see who's in trouble. Approaching the unknown. The solar horizon streaked through the nebula, its engines glowing faintly against the dark backdrop of space. As the ship neared the source of the distress signal, the wreckage of a large vessel came into view. Its design was unfamiliar to Ethan Sleek, with curved edges and a metallic surface that shimmered faintly, even in its ruined state. Analysis, Vanna? This vessel belongs to the Nerillian race, the AI replied. A peaceful species known for their advanced bioengineering and non-combative culture. The damage to their hull suggests heavy plasma fire, likely from a military-grade weapon. Ethan frowned. Military weapons? Nerillians don't have an army. Correct. It is statistically probable that the attackers were pirates or opportunistic mercenaries. Ethan guided the solar horizon closer, maneuvering carefully through the asteroid field that surrounded the wreck. Pieces of the ship's hull floated in the void, some still glowing faintly from recent destruction. As he docked with the vessel, the faint signal continued to play over the comms, its desperate tone unchanging. Vanna, maintain readiness for immediate departure, Ethan said, strapping on his utility belt. I'm going in. Inside the wreckage, the airlock hissed open, and Ethan stepped into the alien ship. His boots clanged against the metal floor, the sound echoing eerily in the silence. The interior was dimly lit, the occasional flicker of a failing power conduit casting brief shadows on the walls. The scent of scorched metal and ozone filled the air. Ethan's flashlight cut through the darkness as he moved cautiously through the corridors. The walls were lined with intricate, glowing patterns that pulsed faintly, like veins carrying lifeblood through the ship. Ethan had never seen anything like it. Vanna, Guide me to the life signs, he said, his voice low. Life forms detected in a compartment 2 levels below your current position, the AI replied. Pathways indicate damage, but they remain navigable. Ethan descended a set of spiraling stairs, his senses on high alert. The wreckage groaned occasionally, the sound of metal straining against itself. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. Finally, he reached a sealed compartment. Through the small viewport in the door, he saw them. A group of small alien children huddled together, their luminous eyes wide with fear. Their skin shimmered faintly, shifting between hues of blue and green, and their slender forms were covered in faintly glowing markings that seemed to pulse in rhythm with their shallow breaths. Ethan's heart twisted. They were terrified, their delicate hands clutching each other as they stared at him through the glass. "Hang tight, kids," he murmured, his voice soft. "I'm getting you out of here." A race against time. The door's control panel was damaged, its circuits exposed and sparking faintly. Ethan crouched down, pulling a multi-tool from his belt. As he worked to bypass the lock, the children inside began to stir. One of them, slightly older than the others, pressed a small hand against the glass, watching him intently. "It's okay," Ethan said, glancing up briefly. "I'm here to help." The lock finally gave way with a hiss, and the door slid open. Ethan stepped inside, crouching to their level. The children recoiled slightly, their luminous eyes darting between him and the open doorway. "Hey, it's okay," Ethan said gently, holding up his hands. "I'm not here to hurt you." The oldest child stepped forward hesitantly, their voice trembling as they spoke in a language Ethan didn't understand. Vanna's translation module kicked in, projecting a soft, melodic voice into his earpiece. "Who are you? Are you here to take us away?" "My name's Ethan," he replied. "I'm here to help. What happened to your ship?" The child hesitated before responding. "We were attacked. Our protectors, they're gone. It's just us now." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Well, not anymore. Let's get you out of here." He motioned for the children to follow him, but the oldest shook their head. "The ship, it's unstable. The core is breaking. It will explode soon." Ethan's blood ran cold. "How long do we have?" "Minutes," the child said. "The escape." Ethan didn't hesitate. "Vanna, prepare for immediate extraction. We've got kids on board this wreck, and the ship's about to blow." He scooped up the youngest child, who clung to him instinctively, while motioning for the others to follow. The group moved as quickly as they could, Ethan urging them forward as the ship groaned ominously around them. The corridors trembled, debris falling from the ceiling as the ship's systems began to fail catastrophically. By the time they reached the docking bay, flames were licking at the walls, and the air was thick with smoke. Ethan rushed the children into the solar horizon, sealing the airlock behind them. "Vanna, punch it. Get us out of here." The ship's engines roared to life, propelling them away from the doomed vessel just as it erupted in a blinding explosion. Ethan shielded the children as the shockwave rocked the solar horizon, his heart pounding. When the danger had passed, he finally allowed himself to relax. The children huddled together in the corner, their luminous eyes watching him with a mixture of gratitude and awe. "You're safe now," Ethan said, his voice soft. "I promise." One of the children stepped forward, their small hand reaching out to touch his. The faint glow from their skin intensified briefly, and Ethan felt a strange warmth spread through him. "You saved us," the child said. "We will not forget." Chapter 2. Bonds Forged in the Void. The solar horizon drifted in the shadow of a massive asteroid, far enough from the wreckage of the alien ship that the fallout wouldn't harm them. In the quiet aftermath of their escape, Ethan Cross sat in the ship's small galley, rubbing his temples as the events of the past hour replayed in his mind. He had saved the children, yes, but the questions swarming his thoughts offered little comfort. "Captain," Vanna's calm, synthesized voice broke through his haze. "Life signs aboard have stabilized. The juveniles appear unharmed, but are exhibiting signs of acute stress. I recommend engaging with them to establish trust." Ethan exhaled, glancing at the corridor leading to the medbay. The alien children, 5 of them, ranging in size and age, were resting in the recovery area. Though their fear had diminished somewhat, they remained wary, their luminous eyes tracking every sound and movement. "Any idea who attacked them?" Ethan asked, leaning back in his chair. Analysis of the energy signatures from the wreckage suggests pirate vessels equipped with scavenger-grade plasma weapons, Vanna replied. Such groups are known to target Nerillian ships for their advanced biotechnologies. Ethan scowled. Scum. He stood, straightened his jacket, and headed toward the med bay. He wasn't the nurturing type. Years of isolation as a cargo pilot had dulled his ability to comfort others. He couldn't ignore the responsibility he now carried. A delicate connection. The medbay was quiet except for the gentle hum of the ship's environmental systems. The children were seated on the cushioned bench along one wall, their shimmering skin casting faint patterns on the metal surfaces. The oldest child, who had spoken to him earlier, stood protectively in front of the others. Ethan crouched a few feet away, keeping his posture relaxed. "Hey," he said softly, "how are you holding up?" The eldest regarded him warily, their large amber eyes narrowing. "We are safe now, thanks to you." "What's your name?" Ethan asked, trying to keep his tone light. "Lura." The child hesitated before continuing. "These are my siblings." Ethan nodded. "Nice to meet you, Lura. I'm Ethan." He glanced at the others, offering a small smile. "You're safe here. No one's going to hurt you." Lura's expression softened, though the tension in their shoulders remained. "Our parents told us to trust no one." "Smart advice," Ethan admitted. "But I'm not here to hurt you. I just want to help." Lura tilted their head, studying him. "Why did you save us?" "You did not have to." Ethan hesitated. It was a fair question. "Because no one deserves to be left to die. Especially not kids." Lura seemed to consider his words, their gaze dropping briefly. "You are different from the others." Understanding the Nerillians. Over the next hour, Lura gradually opened up, answering Ethan's careful questions about what had happened. The Nerillian ship had been a transport carrying families to a new colony on the edge of known space. The pirates had ambushed them, disabling the ship's engines and boarding it. The children's parents had fought to protect them but were overwhelmed. "Our parents hid us in the containment chamber," Lura explained, their voice trembling. "They told us to stay quiet and wait for help. But no one came until you." Ethan felt a pang of anger and sadness. "I'm sorry about your parents," he said quietly, "but you're not alone anymore." "What will happen to us now?" Lura asked, their voice small. Ethan didn't have an answer. The nearest inhabited system was light years away, and Nerillian territory was even farther. Dropping them off at a random station wasn't an option. Their unique biology would make them targets for exploitation. "For now, you stay with me," Ethan said firmly. "We'll figure it out together." Lura nodded slowly, and the faintest hint of a smile touched their lips. A mysterious transformation. As the days passed, the children began to trust Ethan, their initial fear giving way to cautious curiosity. They explored the solar horizon, marveling at its technology and asking endless questions about Ethan's life. Ethan found himself enjoying their company more than he expected. They were intelligent and eager to learn, and their presence brought a warmth to the ship that he hadn't realized he'd been missing. But something strange began to happen. Ethan noticed changes in himself, small, almost imperceptible at first. His reflexes seemed sharper, his stamina greater. He could lift equipment that had previously required two people to move. And his dreams were vivid, filled with images of glowing landscapes and alien symbols he couldn't understand. He brought it up to Vanna one evening. "Anything unusual in my medical scans?" The AI hesitated, a rare occurrence that made Ethan's stomach twist. "Your cellular structure has undergone minor changes, specifically an increase in mitochondrial efficiency and neural activity." Ethan blinked. "In plain English, Vanna, you are becoming stronger, faster, smarter." "How?" "Unknown," Vanna replied. "However, I suspect the Nerillian juveniles may be involved. Their bioluminescent skin secretes trace amounts of an organic compound not present in known databases. Prolonged exposure may be responsible." Ethan stared at the display, his mind racing. "So what? They're changing me?" "It is a possibility," Vanna said. "Further study is required." The pirates return. Ethan didn't have time to dwell on the implications. Less than a day later, the ship's sensors detected an incoming threat. "Unidentified vessels approaching fast," Vanna warned. Scans indicate pirate signatures matching those that attacked the Nerillian transport. Ethan's stomach sank. How many? 3 frigates. Heavily armed. Ethan clenched his fists, his mind racing. The Solar Horizon was a cargo vessel, not a warship. Fighting wasn't an option, but running wasn't ideal either. The pirates would chase them to the ends of the galaxy for a chance at the Nerillian children. Get the kids to the safest part of the ship, he told Vanna. Lock them in and don't open the doors unless I say so. Lura protested when he explained the situation. You can't fight them alone. I don't plan to fight, Ethan said, forcing a smile. I plan to outsmart them. He guided the Solar Horizon into the thickest part of the asteroid field, using the debris for cover. The pirates followed, their plasma cannons lighting up the void as they fired relentlessly. Ethan's hands flew over the controls, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to outmaneuver the attackers in ways that should have been impossible. But the pirates were relentless, and their ships were faster. One well-placed shot disabled the Solar Horizon shields, and alarms blared throughout the cockpit. Vanna, options? Ethan shouted. Minimal, the AI replied. Unless dash. Unless what? The Nerillian juveniles may possess abilities that could assist us. Ethan hesitated. I'm not putting them in danger. Lura's voice crackled over the comm. We can help, Ethan. Let us try. Chapter 3. The Children's Gift. The Solar Horizon shook violently as another plasma blast struck the hull. Ethan Cross gritted his teeth, gripping the control panel as sparks flew around him. The pirate frigates had them cornered, and he was running out of options. The children's faint voices over the comm stirred a conflict deep within him. Protect them or trust them. Ethan, Lura's voice broke through the static, calm yet insistent. We can help. You saved us. Now let us save you. Ethan hesitated, his hand hovering over the comm button. They were just kids, and yet, something about Lura's tone carried a strange authority. He exhaled sharply, shaking his head. All right, but no risks. Tell me what you need. Lura responded immediately. Take us to the central power core. We can amplify its output. Amplify it? How? Ethan asked, steering the ship through another barrage of enemy fire. Our bioluminescence is more than light, Lura explained. It's energy, life energy. We can infuse the core, but we must work together. Ethan didn't fully understand, but the urgency of their situation left no room for doubt. Vanna, guide them to the core. Lock down all other compartments. Acknowledged, Vanna replied. Children en route. Unleashing potential. Ethan adjusted the ship's course, weaving between asteroids to buy time. The pirate frigates continued their relentless pursuit, their plasma cannons lighting up the void. Core chamber secured, Vanna reported. Children are in position. Ethan opened a comm channel to the chamber. Lura, we're out of time. Whatever you're doing, do it now. Inside the core chamber, Lura and the others stood in a circle around the ship's glowing power core. Their shimmering skin intensified, pulsating in a synchronized rhythm. They reached out, placing their small hands against the core's surface. Focus, Lura said to the others, their voice steady. Feel the flow. Let it guide you. The light from their bodies grew brighter, merging with the core's glow. The chamber hummed with a deep, resonant frequency, and Ethan felt the ship itself come alive. Power levels spiking, Vanna said, her tone almost awestruck. Core output increased by 300%, 400%, 500%. Captain, we are now operating at levels far beyond standard specifications. Ethan smirked, gripping the controls. Let's see how the pirates like this. The counterattack. The Solar Horizon surged forward with newfound speed, its engines roaring like a beast unleashed. The pirates, caught off guard, scrambled to adjust their formation. Ethan activated the ship's forward plasma cannons, which now burned with an intensity he hadn't thought possible. He fired at the lead frigate, the blast tearing through its shields and rupturing its hull in a fiery explosion. Direct hit, Vanna reported. Enemy ship disabled. The remaining frigates closed in, but Ethan maneuvered with precision, his enhanced reflexes and the ship's newfound power giving him an edge. Plasma bolts streaked past, but none found their mark. Lura, keep it steady down there. Ethan called over the comm. We're not out of this yet. In the core chamber, Lura and the others maintained their focus, though their glowing forms began to flicker. The strain was evident, but they pressed on. "We can do this," Lura said, their voice firm. "Hold together." Ethan looped the solar horizon around a cluster of asteroids, using them as cover before firing another blast. The second frigate's engines erupted, sending it spiraling into the void. The final pirate ship hesitated, its captain realizing the odds had shifted. After a moment, it turned and fled, its engines burning brightly as it retreated into the nebula. "Cowards," Ethan muttered, slumping back in his chair. He opened the comm. "Lura, it's over. You did it." The aftermath. The children emerged from the core chamber, their steps slow and unsteady. Ethan met them in the corridor, his heart sinking as he saw their exhausted faces. Their shimmering skin was dimmer now, their glow reduced to faint pulses. "You're all right," he said, more a statement than a question. Lura nodded. "We are tired, but we will recover." Ethan knelt, his gaze softening. "What you did back there, I don't even know how to thank you." "You saved us first," Lura replied simply. "This was our way of repaying you." Ethan smiled faintly, but his mind was already racing. The pirates might have been driven off, but their escape wouldn't go unnoticed. The Narration children were still in danger, and their unique abilities made them targets. "We need to get you somewhere safe," Ethan said. "Somewhere the Dominion or pirates can't reach you." Lura hesitated, glancing at the others. "There is a place. A sanctuary." "Where?" Ethan asked. "Deep within the Vermilion Nebula," Lura said. "Our people created hidden sanctuaries before the wars. Few know of them, but we can guide you." Ethan nodded. "Then that's where we're going." A new kind of family. As the solar horizon charted a course through the nebula, Ethan found himself reflecting on the past few days. He had started this journey alone, a drifter moving from one job to the next. Now, he was responsible for the lives of 5 extraordinary children. "They're not just passengers," he muttered to himself. "They're family." In the galley, the children gathered around him, their curiosity about his ship and his life growing with each passing hour. Ethan told them stories of his adventures, embellishing just enough to make them laugh. "You're a good storyteller," Lura said, their eyes twinkling. "Comes with the territory," Ethan replied. "But you kids, you're something else." "You are too," Lura said softly. "More than you realize." The transformation. Ethan's enhancements continued to evolve. His strength, reflexes, and even his mental acuity were reaching superhuman levels. Vanna confirmed that his proximity to the Narration children was accelerating the process. "Captain, your body is adapting to their bioluminescent energy," the AI explained. "This symbiosis is unprecedented." Ethan chuckled. "Figures. I pick up a few passengers, and now I'm part alien." "You are more," Vanna said cryptically. "The bond you share with them is unique." Ethan didn't fully understand what was happening, but he felt a deep connection to the children, a connection that went beyond biology. They had changed him, not just physically, but emotionally. For the first time in years, he felt a sense of purpose. Chapter 4. The Sanctuary of Lamera. The solar horizon sailed deeper into the Vermilion Nebula, its reinforced hull groaning under the gravitational eddies of the dense stellar region. The Narration children sat quietly in the galley, their luminous skin dim but steady, a soft glow that reassured Ethan Cross that they were recovering from their efforts during the pirate attack. Lura, the eldest of the group, had been guiding him with remarkable precision, their innate connection to the region evident in the way they instinctively understood its dangers. "Turn here," Lura said, pointing toward a seemingly empty expanse of crimson and gold gas clouds. "There is a fold in the nebula, a hidden path. Only those who know it can find Lamera." Ethan nodded, trusting their judgment. He adjusted the ship's course, feeling the subtle pull of the nebula's currents as they veered into the hidden passage. "Lamera," he said, testing the name. "What exactly is it?" "A sanctuary," Lura explained, their tone reverent. "Our ancestors built it long ago, a place of safety and healing. Only a few of us know its location." Ethan glanced at them, his curiosity piqued. "Sounds like a paradise. But why hide it so well?" "To protect it from those who would exploit it," Lura replied. "And now, to protect you." Revelations in the glow. As they approached their destination, Ethan noticed that his connection to the children had deepened. His physical abilities had grown to the point where he could instinctively react to threats, his reflexes faster than the ship's AI could predict. His mind, too, felt sharper, more attuned to the complexities of his surroundings. "Vanna," he said quietly, "what's happening to me? Really?" The AI's holographic interface shimmered to life. "Captain, your proximity to the Nerillian juveniles has resulted in a unique biochemical symbiosis. Their bioluminescence carries a form of energy that interacts with your cellular structure, enhancing your physical and cognitive abilities." "Am I changing into one of them?" Ethan asked, half joking. "No," Vanna replied, "but you are evolving into something new. The bond you share with them is accelerating this process. It is not harmful, but it is unprecedented." Ethan ran a hand through his hair, unsure whether to feel awed or unnerved. "Let's hope it comes in handy." The arrival at Lamera. The hidden path led them to a breathtaking sight. Emerging from the dense nebula, the solar horizon entered a vast, glowing expanse of stars and crystalline formations. At the center floated a massive, bioluminescent structure, a living city of light and organic architecture. "Lamera," Lura whispered, their voice filled with awe. Ethan stared, his breath catching. The city pulsed with life, its towers resembling trees of light, their branches reaching into the void. Smaller vessels flitted around it, their designs similar to the Nerillian ship Ethan had rescued the children from. The entire sanctuary was encased in a shimmering energy field, protecting it from the harshness of space. As the solar horizon approached, a welcoming party emerged from the city. 3 elegant Nerillians in flowing robes, their skin glowing with a soft, golden light. They floated effortlessly toward the docking bay, their movements graceful and deliberate. "They know we're here," Lura said, stepping forward. "They will welcome you, Ethan." Ethan swallowed hard. "Let's hope so." A warm welcome. The docking bay of Lamera was unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. The walls pulsed with soft light, alive with intricate patterns that seemed to shift in response to the presence of those within. The 3 Nerillian elders stood waiting, their expressions calm but curious. "Welcome," one of them said, their voice resonating like a melody. "You are Captain Ethan Cross, the one who saved our children." "That's me," Ethan said, trying to sound confident despite the awe he felt. The elder inclined their head. "You have done more than save them. You have bonded with them, something we thought impossible for an outsider." Ethan glanced at Lura and the other children, who stood quietly beside him. "I just did what anyone decent would do." "No," the elder replied, their glowing eyes piercing. "You did what only someone extraordinary could do. And for that, you have earned the right to join us." "Join you?" Ethan asked, confused. The elder gestured toward the heart of the sanctuary. "Come, we will show you." The heart of Lamera. Ethan followed the Nerillian elders into the sanctuary's core, the children walking beside him. The interior was a wonderland of glowing plants, cascading waterfalls of light, and creatures that shimmered like living stars. The air itself seemed charged with energy, invigorating yet calming. At the center of the sanctuary stood a massive, pulsating crystal, its light radiating in waves. The children approached it instinctively, their skin glowing brighter in its presence. "This is the Lamera core," the elder explained. "It is the source of our sanctuary's power and the reason our people have survived for generations. It connects us all, amplifying our abilities and healing our wounds." Ethan stared, feeling a strange pull toward the crystal. "And you're saying this thing is connected to me now?" "Not yet," the elder replied, "but it can be if you choose." Lura stepped forward, their gaze steady. "Ethan, the bond we share is rare. It has made you stronger, more attuned to the energy that flows through us. The core can complete that bond, making you one of us in spirit." Ethan hesitated, the weight of the decision pressing down on him. "What does that mean for me? For my life?" "You would gain abilities beyond what you already possess," the elder said. "Enhanced strength, reflexes, and understanding of the universe's deeper truths. But it would also tie you to us, to our sanctuary. You would no longer be alone." A life-altering choice. Ethan looked at the children, their glowing faces filled with hope and trust. He thought of his solitary life aboard the solar horizon, the years spent drifting from one job to the next with no real purpose. For the first time in a long while, he felt like he belonged. "I've spent so much time running," he said finally. "Maybe it's time I found a place to stay." The elder nodded, then stepped forward and embraced the core. Ethan approached the crystal, its light enveloping him as he placed his hands against its surface. A surge of energy coursed through him, filling every cell of his body with warmth and vitality. His mind expanded, visions of the Nerillian people's history and the sanctuary's secrets flooding his consciousness. When it was over, Ethan stepped back, his body thrumming with newfound power. The children rushed to him, their joy evident as they hugged him tightly. "You're one of us now," Lamera said, their voice filled with emotion. A new beginning. Ethan remained in Lamera for weeks, learning about the sanctuary and his new abilities. The Nerillians welcomed him as one of their own, teaching him to harness the energy that now flowed through him. For the first time in years, he felt at peace. But he knew his journey wasn't over. The galaxy was still dangerous, and others would come looking for Lamera. "I'll protect this place," Ethan promised the elders. "And I'll make sure the galaxy knows there's still good out there." As he prepared to leave the sanctuary on the solar horizon, the children stood at the dock, their glowing faces filled with gratitude. "Wherever you go," Lamera said, "you will always be part of our family." Ethan smiled, the weight of his old life lifted. "And you'll always be part of mine." With that, he launched into the stars, a man forever changed by the bond he had forged and the extraordinary reward he had earned.